Beloved child of God, welcome to Christ Connection, where we explore the love and guidance of Jesus. If you believe in God, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment, "I really love God." Your support is important to our community. If you find value in the message of today's video and want to help us continue to create content like this, please consider donating $10 to $50 by clicking the link to buy a cup of coffee. Your generosity is a blessing that helps us continue to spread the word of God and bring hope to those who need it most. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and may God bless you. Welcome, beloved friend. Today, we invite you to a journey of comfort, hope, and divine insight. This isn't just another message, it's a personal revelation from God, reminding you of His unbreakable love and guiding hand, present through all of life's seasons. Imagine yourself in the warmth of His presence, where His words are not distant echoes but intimate whispers of peace, encouragement, and promise. Through today's video, we'll explore the profound reassurance that God's love surrounds you, supports you, and remains steadfast. He has crafted this message with love, speaking directly to you, calling you to lean on His promises as you face both life's joys and trials. Open your heart and prepare to dive into the depths of His Word, a promise of hope and an invitation to trust, as we uncover the ways God's love, strength, and provision are alive and active for you today. In the quiet of your soul, imagine hearing these words of love, "My beloved child, listen to my heart." Today, God extends to you a message that's not merely a collection of beautiful words but a promise woven from the fabric of divine love, crafted specifically for your journey. Feel this promise as a warm embrace, one that holds you in both your joyful moments and your struggles. Through the power of faith, God invites you to dwell in His grace, knowing that even when life feels overwhelming, His love is the foundation you can rely on. God's message reminds us, He calls us each by name, guiding us tenderly, much like a shepherd caring for his flock. You are known, cherished, and carried, even when you feel most alone. This message is here to whisper softly to your heart that every hardship, every question, and every ounce of uncertainty is seen by God. His presence isn't conditional, it doesn't fade with our doubts or diminish with our struggles. Rather, He is steadfast, a loving Father standing by, awaiting the moment you open yourself to His peace and let His promises renew your soul. Imagine God's love like a river, flowing endlessly through your life, bringing new blessings, peace, and strength at each turn. This image, used frequently in Scripture, captures the boundless nature of His love. In times of hardship, when you feel that life's storms are too great to withstand, know that God's strength is your shelter. His love is a rock, unmoved by the winds of life. He is telling you now, "Come to me with all your burdens, and I will give you rest." His desire is not to see you struggle alone but to walk alongside you, bringing hope and a renewed vision of joy. There's a beautiful symbolism in God's promise to stand beside you. Imagine Him, not as a distant deity, but as a loving Father holding out His hand. This hand isn't extended in condemnation or judgment but in love and compassion. God calls you to place your faith in Him, to know that every word He has spoken will come to pass. He asks for nothing more than your trust, a simple act of leaning into His grace, believing that He will uphold you. With every step of faith, you unlock the doors to new blessings and the beauty of a life rooted in His love. Think about those areas of your life where you feel a sense of weakness or doubt. Perhaps you've experienced setbacks or feel burdened by concerns. God speaks directly to this, reminding you to release all negativity, complaints, and doubts that cloud your mind. In letting go of these, you create room for faith to flourish. It's in this faith, cultivated through trusting God's promises, that you find the strength to press on. God sees your sincere belief and cherishes it. He encourages you to guard it, to protect it from the influence of negativity that can diminish the beauty of hope. God's message further highlights the importance of surrounding yourself with wise, honest companions who bring joy and integrity into your life. Imagine friendships that nurture your spirit, relationships that reflect God's love. He wants you to be mindful of the people around you, choosing those who inspire, uplift, and encourage you. In a world filled with distractions, God calls you to cherish honesty and to pursue peace, avoiding the lure of revenge or resentment. This is a life lived in God's Spirit, one that exemplifies love and shines as a beacon of His grace. As we navigate life's journey, God assures us that each hardship we face is not without purpose. Imagine every struggle as a chapter in your life that God Himself is writing, a story where every line, every word, brings you closer to His grace. Our lives, shaped by trials, are an opportunity to deepen our faith and become a reflection of His love. God reminds us that He sees our perseverance, our resilience, and promises that blessings are coming in due season. Like seeds planted in faith, your acts of love and kindness will bear beautiful fruit, enriching not only your life but also the lives of those around you. What does it mean to stand firm in the Lord? God paints a picture of strength, a resilience that transcends life's storms. Standing firm in faith is about holding on to the certainty that God is with you, even when your heart feels weary. It's a faith that sees beyond the present, trusting that the radiant light of God's love will dispel the shadows and fill your life with His grace and favor. God promises that His blessings will follow you, wrapping you like a loyal shadow, bringing provision, peace, and abundance in every step you take. In moments of freedom from worry, imagine feeling a lightness in your spirit, a sense of joy that dances within you. This joy isn't fleeting but is deeply rooted in the knowledge that God is guiding your path, making every moment a precious gift. You'll find a new melody in your heart, a happiness that surpasses understanding, a constant reminder of God's love. He wants you to know that every obstacle, every hardship, is an invitation to trust Him more deeply, to experience His peace and freedom in ways that will surpass your greatest expectations. God also invites you to step into a deeper faith. Think of this as a path paved with His promises, a journey that leads to a place of profound blessing and fulfillment. He asks you to surrender your fears, to cast your worries upon Him, so you may walk in tranquility and joy. This is an invitation to a life lived in His light, where your challenges transform into victories, where every test becomes a testament to God's faithfulness. You are not just a spectator but a co-creator in this journey, as God empowers you to step forward, trusting that His provision will meet every need, fulfilling the purpose He has prepared for you. In this moment, pause and reflect on the power of God's promise. Imagine that the very words spoken here are a seal upon your heart, an enduring reminder of His love and grace. His commitment to you is steadfast, unshakable, and He promises never to abandon you. He is with you, guiding you, leading you to green pastures, places of peace, joy, and prosperity. Today, God is inviting you to rest in His love, to let go of the fears that weigh you down, and to embrace a future filled with His hope. Consider how this message affects your daily life. God calls you to stand strong, to reject the temptations that try to lure you away from His path. He warns of the fleeting nature of worldly desires, reminding you that His love is a foundation that won't crumble. In a world of shifting sands, God's word is a rock on which you can build a life of faith. He promises that if you seek His face, He will guide you, and His love will be a light for your path. As you step forward, remember that God's hand is upon you, that His blessings are as abundant as they are profound. He reassures you that every prayer you've whispered has been heard, every tear counted, every hope known. His plans for you are not just for the present but for eternity, and He promises that His love will never fail you. Beloved friend, this message is more than words, it is an invitation from God to walk in faith, to trust His promises, and to experience a life transformed by His love. Embrace it with a heart open to His wisdom and a spirit ready to receive His grace. You are cherished, and in God's eyes, you are never alone. Imagine the joy and comfort of knowing that God, in His boundless love, has planned a life for you filled with beauty, purpose, and profound meaning. This isn't just a distant hope, it's a promise that He renews every day. God's message to you today is clear: you are my beloved child. I see you, I know you, and I am here to guide you. Picture this message echoing softly within your soul, giving you the courage to face each day, even when shadows appear on the horizon. In His love, there is always light, a gentle reassurance that you are exactly where you need to be, held by the one who knows the journey ahead. There's a depth to God's promise that calls us to trust even when we don't see the way clearly. Life, with its unpredictable twists, can sometimes leave us feeling uncertain. Yet God's voice remains steady, an anchor amidst the shifting tides. He asks us to lean into His wisdom and trust that every step we take, even in darkness, leads us closer to His purpose. God sees the bigger picture, a tapestry of grace, woven with moments of growth, resilience, and joy. Every trial we face has its place, every struggle its purpose, guiding us towards a deeper understanding of His love. In our journey of faith, God's promise of provision is like an endless well, sustaining us in every season. When we're faced with need, be it material, emotional, or spiritual, God assures us that He has already prepared the resources necessary to fulfill each of these. He is like a loving Father who sees our needs before we even voice them, a God who is aware of every concern, every silent prayer. The beauty of this provision lies in its timing. God's blessings arrive exactly when we need them, not a moment too soon or too late, reminding us that His care is both perfect and constant. Think about the areas of your life where you felt weighed down by burdens or worries. Maybe there's a financial struggle, a relationship that needs healing, or a hope that feels out of reach. God invites you to release these concerns to Him. Imagine lifting each of these burdens from your shoulders and placing them in His capable hands. In doing so, you create space for His peace to fill your heart, a peace that surpasses all understanding. This act of surrender is more than a step of faith, it's a declaration that you trust God's goodness and believe in His promises. Reflect on how God calls us to be agents of His love in this world. His message reminds us that we are not only recipients of His grace but also vessels through which His love can flow to others. Each kind word, each compassionate act, becomes a channel of blessing, reflecting the heart of God to those around us. Imagine the impact of living a life that shines with His love, a love that heals, uplifts, and inspires others to seek the peace we've found in Him. This is the calling we each share, to be His hands and feet, to bring light into the lives of those who need it most. God's faithfulness is woven into the very fabric of our lives. Like a foundation that supports a great structure, His presence is the rock upon which we build our hopes and dreams. Every time we face a hardship, God is there, providing strength, comfort, and direction. In this, He shows us that His promises are not just words but living truths that actively shape our lives. This faithfulness is a source of unshakable security, a reminder that no matter what comes our way, we are never alone. There's something profoundly comforting about the imagery God uses to convey His love. He speaks of being a shepherd, a father, a guide. Each of these images carries with it a sense of care, protection, and guidance. God is not distant, He is intimately involved in every aspect of our lives, guiding us with a gentle hand. Imagine Him leading you through each valley, celebrating each victory with you, and offering comfort in every sorrow. His love is both powerful and personal, a presence that sustains and uplifts us through every moment. As you continue in this journey, God encourages you to embrace His peace and let it transform your heart. This peace is not simply the absence of conflict, it's a profound sense of wholeness and tranquility that comes from knowing you are held by a love that will never let you go. God's peace is an anchor, a steady presence that allows you to face life with confidence and hope. He invites you to carry this peace into every situation, to be a source of calm and reassurance for those around you. In a world that often values success, wealth, and power, God calls us to a different standard, one rooted in humility, compassion, and generosity. His message reminds us that true prosperity is not measured by earthly riches but by the love we share, the kindness we show, and the lives we touch. Imagine the impact of a life lived in this way, a life that prioritizes people over possessions, purpose over ambition. God's vision for us is a life marked by love and integrity, a life that reflects His heart and brings glory to His name. God's guidance is like a light, illuminating each step we take. In moments of uncertainty, He offers clarity. In times of confusion, He provides direction. Imagine walking through life with this light, a divine compass that helps you navigate every twist and turn. God's wisdom is a gift, a source of insight and understanding that allows us to make choices that honor Him and bring us closer to the life He has planned for us. He asks us to seek His guidance daily, to lean on His wisdom as we journey forward. The journey of faith is one that calls us to be patient, to trust in God's timing, and to wait upon His promises. In a world that often demands immediate results, God invites us to embrace a slower, more intentional pace. He reminds us that His timing is perfect, that every blessing arrives at exactly the right moment. This patience is not passive, it is an active trust in God's ability to fulfill His promises. It is a reminder that God's ways are higher than our ways, that His plans are greater than anything we could imagine. God's message also challenges us to look beyond our immediate circumstances, to see our lives from an eternal perspective. Imagine each day as a piece of a larger puzzle, one that, when completed, reveals the beautiful story God is writing in and through you. This eternal perspective helps us to stay grounded, to remember that our lives are part of a greater plan, a divine purpose that extends beyond the here and now. God calls us to hold this perspective close, to let it guide our decisions and inspire our faith. As we conclude, God's words are a reminder of His infinite love, a love that knows no bounds and offers no conditions. He calls you, His beloved child, to trust in His promises, to lean on His grace, and to walk in the peace that only He can provide. This message is not just for today, it is a lasting reminder that God's love is ever present, a constant source of strength and encouragement as you journey forward. He invites you to rest in His presence, to let His love fill your heart and renew your spirit. Today, may you carry this message with you, letting it shape your thoughts, guide your actions, and uplift your soul. Remember that you are loved, cherished, and held by a God who delights in you. His promise is unbreakable, His love unending, and His peace a gift that will sustain you in every season. Trust in Him, and let His words be a light upon your path, a reminder that you are never alone. God's blessings are upon you, His grace surrounds you, and His love will guide you all the days of your life. As you take each step forward, let these words of love and assurance remain close to your heart. God's promise is not just a message for the present, it's an enduring truth that will carry you through all of life's seasons. Picture this promise like a gentle hand resting on your shoulder, guiding you and reminding you that you are never alone, no matter the circumstances. God's presence is like the sunrise, constant, faithful, and illuminating each new day with hope and possibility. In our spiritual journey, God encourages us to keep our hearts open to His voice, to listen for His guidance in the quiet moments of our lives. This is an invitation to deepen our relationship with Him, to grow in trust, and to recognize His hand in the details of our daily experiences. God's voice may come as a soft whisper or a profound realization, reminding you that He is with you, speaking words of love and wisdom to direct your path. Imagine a life where every decision, every step, is taken with the knowledge that God is walking beside you, providing the clarity and confidence you need. God's love is a sanctuary, a place of refuge where you can lay down your burdens and find rest. In this sanctuary, you are free to be yourself, to express your fears, hopes, and dreams, knowing that God accepts you fully and loves you unconditionally. His love is not based on our accomplishments or failures but is a constant, unchanging force that upholds us. Imagine coming to this place of peace every day, a sanctuary where God's presence fills your soul with calm and renewal. It's here that you find the strength to face life's challenges, knowing that God's love is your ultimate foundation. This message also calls us to reflect on our relationships with others. Just as we receive God's love, we are invited to share it, becoming conduits of His grace and kindness. Each act of compassion, each word of encouragement, becomes a testament to God's presence in our lives. Imagine how your life could be a light for those around you, an embodiment of God's love that inspires others to seek Him. This is the heart of God's call, to love as He loves, to forgive as He forgives, and to offer hope to a world that is often in need of encouragement. In moments of solitude, consider the simplicity and beauty of God's invitation to be still and know that He is God. This stillness isn't an absence of movement but a deep awareness of God's presence, a quiet confidence that even when life feels chaotic, He remains in control. This is a call to surrender our anxieties, to let go of the things we cannot control, and to rest in the assurance that God is working on our behalf. In this stillness, we find clarity, peace, and the profound realization that God's love is enough, that His grace will carry us through every challenge. God's message extends beyond personal comfort, it's also a call to purpose. Each of us has been given unique gifts, strengths, and passions, and God desires that we use these to fulfill the purpose He has placed within us. Imagine living a life that aligns with God's design, where every action and decision reflects His love and brings glory to His name. This purpose may look different for each of us, but it is rooted in the same foundation, a desire to serve, to love, and to make a positive impact on the world around us. God encourages us to step into this purpose with courage, trusting that He will equip us for every task He has called us to. The journey of faith is one of continuous growth, of becoming more attuned to God's voice and more reflective of His character. As we draw closer to Him, we begin to see life through His eyes, developing a heart that is compassionate, patient, and filled with hope. God's message today is an invitation to deepen our commitment, to allow His love to transform us from the inside out. Imagine a life where each day is a step towards becoming more like Christ, embodying His grace, wisdom, and strength. This transformation is a journey, one that requires patience and perseverance, but God promises that He is with us every step of the way. In times of difficulty, God's love is a beacon of hope, reminder that no trial is too great for His strength. He reassures us that His grace is sufficient, that His power is made perfect in our weakness. Imagine the peace of knowing that even in our most vulnerable moments, God's strength is our support, His love our shield. This doesn't mean that challenges will disappear, but it does mean that we have a source of strength that transcends human limitations. God's promise is to be with us, to empower us, and to turn every trial into an opportunity for growth and transformation. God's faithfulness is a theme woven throughout this message, a constant reminder that His promises are sure and His love unchanging. Think of this faithfulness as the very air you breathe, a presence that surrounds you, sustaining and nurturing you at every moment. God's faithfulness means that He is there in both the joys and the sorrows, the victories and the struggles. He is the rock upon which you can stand, the steady presence that never wavers, no matter what life may bring. Trusting in His faithfulness is an act of surrender, an acknowledgement that His plans are greater than our understanding. As we come to the end of this reflection, let's hold on to the truth that God's love is an ever-present reality, a gift that is freely given and endlessly available. He invites you to walk in this love, to carry it into every part of your life, and to let it shape your actions, your relationships, and your dreams. This love is not just a feeling but a transformative force, one that gives life, purpose, and meaning. Embrace it fully, let it sink into every corner of your heart, and watch as it changes you, bringing you closer to the life God has prepared for you. In closing, remember that you are God's beloved child, cherished beyond measure and held in His loving embrace. His promises are not distant or abstract, they are living truths, active and present in your life right now. He calls you to trust, to hope, and to walk forward in faith, knowing that His grace will meet you at every step. This message is a testament to God's unyielding love, a love that invites you to rest, renew, and rise with a heart full of His peace. Let these words guide you, comfort you, and inspire you as you journey forward, knowing that in God's hands, your life is a beautiful expression of His love. With each passing moment, let God's words resonate within you, anchoring you in His profound peace and unshakable love. As you step into each new day, remember that you're not walking alone, God's presence goes before you, beside you, and within you, constantly renewing your strength. His promise isn't just for the moment but for eternity, a covenant of love that will endure forever. Imagine the joy and security of knowing that this love, so deep and boundless, is always yours to rely on, to draw from, and to share. In this journey of faith, God calls you to live with purpose, to let His love transform not only your life but also the lives of those you encounter. Each day is an opportunity to reflect His light, to embody His kindness, and to bring hope to a world in need. God doesn't ask for perfection but for a willing heart, a spirit open to His guidance. He invites you to be a channel of His grace, letting His love flow through you in ways that uplift and inspire. Imagine the impact of a life lived this way, a life that touches others, bringing them closer to the peace and joy that only God can give. God also reminds us of the importance of gratitude, a heart that acknowledges His blessings and sees His hand in every detail. Gratitude is more than a feeling, it's a choice to recognize the good in each moment, to find joy even in the simplest of things. When we cultivate a grateful heart, we become more attuned to God's presence, seeing His love in the world around us. Imagine waking up each morning with a heart full of thankfulness, a spirit that sees every breath, every smile, every sunrise as a gift from God. This gratitude transforms how we experience life, filling us with joy and contentment. In moments of doubt or fear, God calls you to remember His promises, to hold on to the truth that He is faithful. There may be times when you feel uncertain or afraid, but God's message is clear: He is with you, and He will never abandon you. Picture this faithfulness as a warm blanket wrapped around you, a source of comfort that shields you from the chill of doubt. His promises are your foundation, a rock on which you can stand firm, knowing that His love is unchanging, His grace sufficient, and His strength more than enough for every challenge you face. God's guidance is also a source of profound peace, a reminder that we don't have to navigate life alone. He offers His wisdom freely, inviting us to seek His counsel in every decision, big or small. Imagine the security of knowing that every choice, every step, is taken with the assurance of God's guidance. His wisdom is perfect, His understanding infinite, and He longs to lead you along paths of peace and righteousness. When we trust in His guidance, we find clarity in times of confusion, confidence in moments of hesitation, and a deep sense of purpose that directs our steps. Reflecting on God's message, it becomes clear that His love calls us to growth, to become more like Him in every way. This growth isn't always easy, it requires patience, humility, and a willingness to let go of old ways. Yet God assures us that He is with us in this process, shaping us with gentle hands, refining us like gold. Each challenge, each lesson, brings us closer to His heart, helping us to embody His grace, His kindness, and His strength. Imagine yourself as clay in the hands of a master sculptor, being molded into something beautiful, something that reflects the very image of God. God's love also brings healing, a restoration that goes beyond physical health. He offers healing for the soul, a peace that mends the wounds of the heart and restores joy where there was once sorrow. Think of this healing as a balm, soothing every hurt, every worry, and every fear. In God's presence, you find a place of rest, a sanctuary where your soul is renewed and your spirit uplifted. This healing is His gift to you, an invitation to release the burdens you've been carrying and to embrace the freedom that comes from His love. As we journey forward, God calls us to trust Him not only with our lives but also with our dreams, hopes, and aspirations. He invites us to place these desires in His hands, to believe that He will bring them to fruition in His perfect timing. This trust is an act of surrender, a willingness to let go of control and allow God to shape our future. Imagine the peace of knowing that your dreams are safe with Him, that He is working behind the scenes to bring about blessings that are beyond your imagination. His plans for you are good, and His love ensures that every hope you hold will be fulfilled in ways that honor His purpose. The journey of faith is one of joy, a joy that comes from knowing we are loved by a God who never fails. This joy isn't dependent on circumstances but is rooted in the unchanging nature of God's love. It's a joy that carries us through life's highs and lows, a light that shines even in the darkest moments. Imagine this joy as a song that plays in your heart, a melody of gratitude and praise that fills you with peace. God's love is the source of this joy, a reminder that no matter what happens, His presence is a reason to celebrate. Finally, as you go forth, remember that God's message is an invitation to live with hope, to see every moment as part of His beautiful plan. This hope is not just a feeling but a conviction, a deep-rooted assurance that God's promises will come to pass. He is faithful, and His love endures forever. Let this hope be a light within you, a reminder that even in times of uncertainty, God is at work, shaping your future with His love and grace. Take these words to heart, let them dwell within you, and allow them to transform your perspective. You are deeply loved, cherished, and known by a God who sees you, who cares for you, and who is with you always. This message is His promise to you, a promise of peace, joy, and abundant life. Walk in this love, trust in His faithfulness, and let His presence be your constant guide. May your life be a beautiful reflection of God's love, a testament to His grace, and a beacon of hope for all who see it. This is the journey you're called to, a journey filled with love, purpose, and divine promise. Embrace it fully, live it boldly, and know that you are forever held in the arms of a loving and faithful God. May His words be a light upon your path, a source of strength, and a reminder that in Him, all things are possible. In the quiet places of your soul, God's voice calls out, inviting you into a life of intimacy and purpose, a journey marked by His unchanging love. His presence isn't fleeting or reserved only for moments of joy. It's a faithful companionship that endures through every season, every doubt, and every victory. Imagine the assurance of knowing that this presence will never leave you, no matter the circumstances. In a world where so much is uncertain, God's promise is an anchor for your soul, a steady foundation that you can build your life upon. He calls you to live fully, not by the standards of this world, but by the deep and abiding truth of His love, a love that remains steadfast even when the world shifts around you. This love is like a shelter in the storm, a place where you can find rest and renewal. God's heart is for you to come into this place of peace, to lay down every burden, and to trust that He is working in every situation, even those that seem difficult or overwhelming. The essence of God's message is not only about comfort but about transformation. His love is a refining fire, one that purifies and renews us, shaping us into people who reflect His character and compassion. This process isn't always easy, it often requires letting go of old habits, old fears, and stepping into the unknown with a heart that trusts in God's guidance. Imagine this transformation as a journey towards wholeness, one where every step brings you closer to the person God has created you to be. This is not a journey you take alone, for God is with you, molding and shaping you with a gentleness that only a loving Father could possess. He sees not only who you are today but who you will become through His grace. Each trial, each moment of doubt, is an opportunity to deepen your trust and to allow His love to refine you. God is calling you to be patient in this process, to know that His timing is perfect, and to trust that the work He is doing within you is preparing you for greater things. The beauty of God's promise is in its simplicity and depth. It is a promise not only for today but for every tomorrow, an assurance that you are held, known, and cherished beyond measure. Think of this promise as a golden thread that weaves through every moment of your life, a divine connection that grounds you and gives you purpose. God's love is not a distant reality, it is as close as your next breath, as constant as the sunrise. He desires for you to know Him, to draw near to His heart, and to experience the fullness of a relationship that brings both comfort and challenge. This relationship is the heart of your faith, a source of strength and hope that is unshakable. God wants you to experience His presence as a living reality, a source of joy and strength that transcends every difficulty. Faith in God is more than belief, it's a relationship built on trust and surrender. God's invitation is not merely to follow rules or rituals but to walk with Him, to know Him as a friend, a guide, and a source of endless love. He wants to be involved in every part of your life, not only in moments of need but in your daily joys and decisions. Imagine a life where God's presence is woven into every moment, where His guidance shapes every choice. This is the life He calls you to, a life where faith is not just a concept but a lived experience, a relationship that brings light into even the darkest places. God's heart is for you to know Him deeply, to seek His wisdom, and to find in Him a source of strength and peace that the world cannot offer. This journey with God also brings a deep sense of purpose. His love is not only for you to receive but to share, to be a beacon of hope and kindness to those around you. Each day is an opportunity to reflect God's love in a world that desperately needs it. Imagine the impact of a life that shines with His light, a life that speaks of His grace in both word and deed. God calls you to be His hands and feet, to bring healing, compassion, and justice to those who are hurting. This is the high calling of every believer, to live a life that points others to the peace and hope found in God. It is a calling that transcends personal ambition, drawing you into a purpose that is far greater than yourself. God's desire is for you to be a vessel of His love, a source of encouragement and strength to those who are weary. This is a life of service, a life that finds joy in lifting others and bringing them closer to the heart of God. At the heart of God's message is a call to live in peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding. This peace is not the absence of conflict but a deep-seated assurance that God is in control, that His hand is guiding every moment. Imagine living with this peace, a calm confidence that anchors you even when life's storms arise. This peace comes from knowing that God's plans are for your good, that His love is a constant source of comfort and security. God's desire is for you to rest in this peace, to let go of the anxieties and fears that weigh you down, and to trust that He is working on your behalf. This is not a passive peace but an active trust in the goodness and faithfulness of God. It is a peace that allows you to face life's challenges with a spirit of resilience, knowing that God's strength is made perfect in your weakness. God's message also calls us to a life of gratitude, a heart that sees His blessings in every circumstance. Gratitude is more than an attitude, it's a spiritual practice that opens our eyes to the goodness of God in every detail of our lives. When we cultivate gratitude, we begin to see life from a new perspective, one that recognizes each moment as a gift, each day as a blessing. Imagine the joy of waking up each morning with a heart full of thankfulness, a spirit that sees God's hand in both the ordinary and the extraordinary. Gratitude transforms the way we experience life, filling us with a sense of wonder and contentment that is rooted in God's love. This is the life God calls you to, a life where gratitude becomes the lens through which you see His grace and faithfulness in every season. In moments of solitude, God invites you to be still and know that He is God. This stillness is a sacred space, a moment to quiet your mind and rest in His presence. In a world that is constantly moving, God's invitation to be still is a reminder that His presence is enough, that His love is sufficient. Imagine the peace of coming into this stillness, a place where you can let go of every worry, every fear, and simply rest in the knowledge that God is with you. This stillness is not an escape from reality but a way to center yourself in God's truth, to find strength in His love and clarity in His guidance. God desires for you to know this stillness, to make it a regular part of your life, a time where you can listen for His voice and experience His peace. As we live out this journey of faith, God also calls us to be people of integrity, to live lives that reflect His character. Integrity is more than honesty, it's a commitment to live in a way that honors God, a life that is consistent with His truth. God's desire is for you to be a person of integrity, someone who values truth, who treats others with respect, and who lives in a way that reflects His love. This integrity is a witness to the world, a testimony of God's transforming power in your life. Imagine the impact of a life lived with integrity, a life that speaks of God's goodness in every word and action. This is the life God calls you to, a life of authenticity, humility, and kindness that reflects His heart to a world in need. God's message is also one of hope, a hope that is rooted in His promises and faithfulness. This hope is not dependent on circumstances but is a steady assurance that God's love will never fail. In times of uncertainty, this hope is a light that guides you, a reminder that God's plans are good, that His love is unchanging. Imagine living with this hope, a hope that fills you with peace even in the face of difficulty. This hope is not just for the future but is a present reality, a source of strength and joy that sustains you in every moment. God's desire is for you to hold on to this hope, to let it be the foundation of your faith, and to share it with others who need encouragement. This is a hope that transforms lives, a hope that reminds us that we are never alone, that God's love is always with us. In this journey of faith, God also calls us to a life of compassion, a heart that is moved by the needs of others. Compassion is more than sympathy, it is an active love that seeks to bring healing and hope. God's desire is for you to be a person of compassion, someone who sees the pain of others and responds with kindness. Imagine the impact of a life that is marked by compassion, a life that brings comfort and encouragement to those who are hurting. This is the life God calls you to, a life of selfless love, a life that reflects His heart for the world. Compassion is a powerful force, one that can transform lives, heal wounds, and bring hope to those who feel forgotten. God's invitation is for you to be a vessel of His compassion, to let His love flow through you to those in need. This compassion that God calls us to is a reflection of His own heart, a heart that never turns away from those who are suffering or in need. God's compassion is boundless, an endless well of love and mercy that He pours out on His children. He sees each person's struggles, understands their pain, and yearns to bring comfort and healing. Imagine the depth of God's compassion as an ocean without end, a love that overflows into every corner of your life. He invites you to not only receive this compassion but to become a channel of it, to reach out to others with the same love and grace that He has shown you. When we live with a heart of compassion, we begin to see people through God's eyes, recognizing their worth and value as His beloved creations. This is the essence of a life lived in alignment with God's will, a life that reflects His light in a world that often feels dark and disconnected. God's love also calls us to forgiveness, a theme that resonates deeply with His teachings and the life of Jesus. Forgiveness is more than a simple act, it's a decision to let go of resentment, to release the pain others may have caused us, and to choose peace over bitterness. God reminds us that forgiveness is not only about freeing others but about freeing ourselves, allowing us to live without the weight of past hurts. Imagine the freedom that comes from letting go, the lightness that fills your heart when you choose to forgive as God forgives. This is a powerful act of love, one that aligns us with God's heart and opens us to receive His peace. God's message is clear: as He has forgiven us, so we are called to forgive others. This is not always easy, but it is a path that leads to healing and wholeness. Through forgiveness, we become more like Christ, embodying the grace that He demonstrated on the cross, a grace that breaks down barriers and restores relationships. God's invitation to forgiveness is also a call to trust in His justice, to release the need for revenge or retaliation. In a world that often seeks retribution, God's message is one of mercy and compassion. He reminds us that true justice belongs to Him, that He sees every wrong and will bring about justice in His perfect timing. This trust in God's justice frees us to live without anger or resentment, to let go of the burdens that weigh us down. Imagine the peace of knowing that God is in control, that He will handle every situation with fairness and grace. This trust allows us to live with an open heart, to forgive even those who may not deserve it, and to move forward with a spirit of love and compassion. Another central theme in God's message is the call to humility. Humility is not about thinking less of ourselves but about recognizing our need for God, acknowledging that every blessing, every gift, comes from His hand. Humility is a posture of gratitude, a willingness to give credit to God and to live in dependence on His strength. Imagine a life lived in humility, a life where pride is replaced with gratitude, where every achievement is an opportunity to praise God. This humility brings us closer to God, reminding us that we are part of something much greater than ourselves. God calls us to walk humbly with Him, to seek His wisdom, and to honor Him in all that we do. This is the essence of a life that reflects God's character, a life that speaks of His greatness rather than our own. God's call to humility also extends to our relationships with others. He invites us to consider others as more important than ourselves, to serve with a spirit of kindness and generosity. Humility in relationships means listening, valuing others, and treating each person with respect. It means setting aside our own desires to meet the needs of those around us. Imagine the impact of a life that is lived in humility, a life that lifts others up and seeks to serve rather than to be served. This is the heart of Christ's teaching, a model of love that puts others first and reflects God's grace in every interaction. When we live with humility, we become instruments of God's peace, building bridges and bringing people together in unity and love. As we embrace this journey, God also calls us to faithfulness. Faithfulness is a commitment to live in accordance with His will, a dedication to follow His guidance even when it is difficult. Faithfulness is not a fleeting feeling but a steady devotion, a choice to remain true to God's word and His purpose for our lives. Imagine the strength of a life built on faithfulness, a life that stands firm in the face of adversity, a life that honors God through consistency and perseverance. This is the life God calls you to, a life that reflects His faithfulness and inspires others to seek His truth. Faithfulness is a testimony to the world, a witness to the power of God's love and the transformation it brings. Faithfulness also extends to the small things, the daily acts of kindness, the moments of quiet prayer, the choices we make when no one else is watching. God reminds us that faithfulness in the little things is just as important as faithfulness in the big moments. Each act of obedience, each choice to follow His way, strengthens our relationship with Him and prepares us for greater things. Imagine a life where every moment is an opportunity to be faithful, a life that reflects God's love in every detail. This faithfulness is a foundation upon which God can build, a place where His blessings can grow and flourish. God's message is also one of resilience, a reminder that His strength is made perfect in our weakness. He calls us to stand firm, to endure with a spirit of hope and determination, knowing that He is with us in every trial. Resilience is not about never facing challenges but about rising above them with the confidence that God's power is greater than any obstacle. Imagine the courage that comes from knowing that God is your source of strength, that His grace is sufficient for every need. This resilience allows you to face life's difficulties with a heart that is unwavering, a spirit that remains steadfast even in the storms. God's desire is for you to walk in this resilience, to find strength in His presence, and to trust that every trial is an opportunity to grow closer to Him. This journey of faith also calls us to joy, a joy that comes from knowing we are loved by a God who never fails. This joy is not dependent on circumstances but is rooted in the unchanging nature of God's love. It is a joy that carries us through life's highs and lows, a light that shines even in the darkest moments. Imagine this joy as a song that plays in your heart, a melody of gratitude and praise that fills you with peace. God's love is the source of this joy, a reminder that no matter what happens, His presence is a reason to celebrate. This joy transforms how we live, how we interact with others, and how we see the world around us. It is a gift that sustains us, a treasure that cannot be taken away. God's message also calls us to faith, a deep-rooted belief that He is who He says He is, that His promises are true and His love is unfailing. Faith is more than just belief, it is an act of trust, a willingness to place our lives in God's hands. Imagine the peace that comes from this faith, a peace that allows you to rest in the knowledge that God is in control. This faith is a shield that protects you from doubt, a source of strength that empowers you to face life with confidence. God's desire is for you to walk in this faith, to believe in His goodness, and to trust in His plans. This faith is a journey, a path that leads you closer to God and strengthens your relationship with Him. God's call to faith also invites us to hope, a hope that is rooted in His promises and faithfulness. This hope is not dependent on circumstances but is a steady assurance that God's love will never fail. Imagine living with this hope, a hope that fills you with peace even in the face of difficulty. This hope is not just for the future but is a present reality, a source of strength and joy that sustains you in every moment. God's desire is for you to hold on to this hope, to let it be the foundation of your faith, and to share it with others who need encouragement. This is a hope that transforms lives, a hope that reminds us that we are never alone, that God's love is always with us. This hope that God instills within us is like a radiant light, guiding our path and dispelling the shadows that life sometimes brings. It's a hope rooted in His unchanging character, His promises that stand firm even when the world around us is uncertain. Imagine holding on to this hope as a lifeline, a steady cord that connects you to God's heart, reminding you that His plans are for your good, that His love for you is steadfast. This hope is not a mere wish, it's an expectation built on the knowledge that God is faithful, that He will fulfill every promise He has spoken over your life. It gives you a perspective that sees beyond today's trials, that looks to a future filled with the goodness and grace of God. In God's message, there is also an invitation to courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear but the strength to move forward despite it, anchored in the belief that God is with you every step of the way. God calls you to face life's challenges with a heart that is brave, trusting that His presence and power are enough to carry you through. Imagine the freedom that comes from living with this courage, a confidence that doesn't come from your own strength but from the assurance that God's strength is working in and through you. With this courage, you are able to step into new opportunities, to pursue dreams, and to overcome obstacles that once seemed insurmountable. God's encouragement is a reminder that you don't have to have it all figured out or be perfectly prepared, you only need to be willing to trust Him and take the next step. This journey with God is a journey of transformation, where each step brings you closer to His heart and His purposes for your life. Transformation isn't just about change, it's about becoming more aligned with God's character, letting His love shape every part of who you are. God calls you to a life where His love transforms not only your actions but also your thoughts, your desires, and your dreams. Imagine this transformation as a refining process, a beautiful shaping that brings out the best in you. It's a journey of becoming, of moving closer to the image of Christ, who is our perfect example of love, compassion, and grace. God's hands are gentle yet strong, guiding you through this transformation, molding you into a person who reflects His goodness in everything you do. One of the beautiful aspects of God's transformation in us is that it doesn't happen in isolation, it happens in community. God designed us to grow together, to support and encourage one another. In His message, there is a call to fellowship, to live in relationships that uplift and strengthen our faith. Imagine the power of a community where love, kindness, and truth are at the center, where each person is committed to helping others grow closer to God. This fellowship is a gift, a reflection of God's own love for us, calling us to walk alongside one another in times of joy and sorrow. Through this community, God provides support, accountability, and encouragement, creating a space where His love is tangible and His presence is felt in every interaction. God's invitation to live in community also calls us to serve one another with humility and grace. Service is not just an act of kindness, it's a reflection of God's heart, a demonstration of His love in action. God calls you to be His hands and feet, to bring hope and healing to those around you. Imagine a life where every act of service, no matter how small, is done with love, where each moment becomes an opportunity to reflect God's kindness and compassion. This is the heart of a servant, a life that is given in love, a life that seeks to lift others up and bring glory to God. Service is a powerful expression of faith, a way to live out the love that God has poured into you, a way to make His presence known to those who may not yet know Him. Through service, God also calls you to generosity, a spirit that gives freely and joyfully, knowing that everything you have is a gift from Him. Generosity isn't just about material resources, it's about sharing your time, your love, and your encouragement with others. God invites you to be a person who lives with open hands, trusting that as you give, He will provide all that you need. Imagine the joy of living with this spirit of generosity, a life that overflows with kindness and love, touching the lives of others in meaningful ways. God's generosity towards you is boundless, and He calls you to reflect this same spirit, to be a source of blessing and encouragement to those around you. In His message, God also speaks of rest, an invitation to find peace and renewal in His presence. Rest is more than physical relaxation, it's a state of being that comes from trusting God fully, from knowing that He is in control and that His love will sustain you. God calls you to come to Him with your burdens, to let go of the worries that weigh you down, and to find rest in His grace. Imagine the peace that comes from resting in God's presence, a peace that fills your heart and mind, freeing you from the need to strive or prove yourself. This rest is a gift, a reminder that God's love is not earned but freely given, that His grace is sufficient for every need. Through this invitation to rest, God also calls you to trust in His timing. There may be things you are waiting for, prayers that have not yet been answered, dreams that feel distant. God's message is a reminder that His timing is perfect, that He knows the desires of your heart and will bring them to fruition in the right season. Imagine the freedom of trusting in God's timing, of releasing the need to rush or control the outcome. This trust is an act of faith, a declaration that you believe in God's wisdom and His ability to bring about what is best for you. Waiting on God is not a passive act, it's a choice to live with hope and expectation, knowing that He is working in ways you cannot yet see. God's message is also an invitation to worship, a call to come before Him with a heart full of praise and gratitude. Worship is more than singing songs, it's a lifestyle, a posture of the heart that acknowledges God's greatness and goodness. God calls you to worship Him not only in moments of joy but also in times of difficulty, to lift your eyes to Him and remember that He is worthy of all honor and praise. Imagine the power of worship in your life, a source of strength and joy that lifts you above your circumstances and fills you with the presence of God. Worship is an expression of love, a way to draw near to God and to experience His love in a deeper way. It reminds you of His faithfulness, His power, and His unending love. This journey with God is one of learning, growing, and becoming more like Him every day. His message is a call to discipleship, a commitment to follow Him, to learn from His teachings, and to let His truth shape your life. Discipleship is not just about knowledge, it's about transformation, a willingness to let God's Word renew your mind and guide your actions. Imagine the wisdom and strength that comes from living as a disciple, a life that reflects God's love and truth in every situation. God calls you to study His Word, to seek His wisdom, and to live out His teachings in practical ways. This is the path of a disciple, a life that is continually growing closer to God and becoming more like Christ. God's message also speaks of purpose, a reminder that your life is not an accident but a part of His divine plan. He has created you with unique gifts, strengths, and passions, and He calls you to use these for His glory. Imagine the fulfillment that comes from living with purpose, from knowing that every moment, every decision, is a part of something greater. God's purpose for your life is not just about personal success, it's about being a light in the world, a witness to His love and truth. He calls you to pursue this purpose with passion and commitment, to trust that He will lead you and equip you for every good work. Through every aspect of this journey, God's love remains the constant, unchanging foundation. It's a love that knows no bounds, that reaches into every part of your life and brings transformation. Imagine this love as a river that flows endlessly, a source of strength, peace, and joy that sustains you in every season. God's love is a gift, a treasure that is freely given, a reminder that you are valued, cherished, and deeply known. This love is the essence of who God is, the heart of His message to you, a love that invites you to come, to rest, to trust, and to live fully in His presence. In God's love, there is always hope, always peace, and always a future filled with His promises. This journey with Him is one of discovery, a path that leads to deeper understanding, greater joy, and a life that is rich in purpose and meaning. As you walk with Him, may His love be the light that guides you, the strength that sustains you, and the joy that fills your heart. God's message is a reminder that you are never alone, that His love surrounds you and will carry you through every season of life. His invitation is simple: come to Him, trust Him, and let His love transform every part of who you are. As you continue this journey, imagine God's love as a vast ocean, constant and powerful, stretching beyond the horizon. Each wave is a reminder of his promises, each current a pull towards his purpose for you. God's love is the beginning and end of all things, the force that breathes life into every moment and calls you forward with assurance. This ocean of love is endless, inviting you to dive deeper, to explore the depths of his grace, and to discover more of who he is. The more you trust in his love, the more you find yourself transformed, guided by a peace that surpasses understanding, grounded in a faith that remains unshaken. In the heart of God's love, there is always an invitation to grow in relationship with him. This relationship is not a one-sided expression but a profound and mutual exchange where you are both known and loved. God wants you to come to him as you are, without pretense or fear. He sees every part of you, your strengths, your struggles, your hidden dreams, and your unspoken prayers. Imagine standing in his presence, fully seen yet completely loved. This is the freedom of a life lived close to God, a life where there is no need to hide because you are accepted just as you are. He doesn't love you for what you do, he loves you for who you are, his beloved child. This understanding brings a profound sense of security, a reminder that you are cherished beyond measure and that nothing can separate you from his love. Through this relationship, God calls you to become more like Christ, who perfectly reflects the love and character of God. Jesus' life on earth was one of compassion, humility, and profound love for others. As you draw closer to God, he begins to shape your heart to mirror the heart of Christ. Imagine a life that radiates with this love, a life that naturally draws others closer to God through kindness, patience, and understanding. God doesn't ask you to be perfect but to be willing, to let his Spirit work within you, guiding you into a life that honors him in every way. This transformation is a journey of becoming, of growing in grace and wisdom as you learn to see the world and others through the eyes of Christ. In the quiet moments of prayer and reflection, God invites you to bring your heart to him, to share your hopes, your fears, and your dreams. Prayer is not a ritual, it is a sacred conversation with the one who loves you unconditionally. Imagine the power of prayer as a bridge that connects your soul to God, a lifeline that brings peace and clarity. Through prayer, God reveals his will, guides your steps, and fills you with his strength. He listens attentively, valuing each word and knowing even the silent prayers of your heart. In this space of communion, you find a source of wisdom and encouragement that carries you through life's challenges. God's voice becomes clearer as you learn to listen, offering comfort when you are weary, courage when you are afraid, and direction when you feel lost. This life of faith that God calls you to is filled with purpose, a divine plan that encompasses every aspect of who you are. God has crafted your gifts, talents, and passions with intentionality, inviting you to use them in ways that bring him glory and bless others. Imagine the fulfillment that comes from living with purpose, knowing that each day has meaning and each action can reflect his love. This purpose is not about personal achievement or recognition, it is about a life surrendered to God, where every moment becomes an opportunity to serve, to love, and to make a difference. God's purpose for you is not a burden but a joy, a calling that aligns with the deepest desires of your heart because it is woven into the very fabric of who you are. Along this journey, God also calls you to perseverance, a strength that endures through trials and remains steadfast in faith. Perseverance is a gift, a resilience that doesn't deny hardship but faces it with a trust rooted in God's promises. Life will inevitably bring challenges, times when the way forward is unclear or the burden feels heavy. But God's message is one of assurance, reminding you that you are never alone. Imagine the courage that comes from knowing that God's hand is upon you, that his strength is perfected in your weakness. This perseverance allows you to walk with a quiet confidence, to press on even when the journey is difficult, trusting that God is using every moment to draw you closer to him and to refine your character. God's call to live with hope is a reminder that his story for your life is not yet finished. Hope is the anticipation of good, the belief that God is working in ways you may not see. It is a reminder that, regardless of today's challenges, there is a future filled with his promises. Hope is not a wish but a firm expectation based on God's unchanging nature. Imagine carrying this hope within you, a light that brightens every dark path and fuels your faith in God's goodness. This hope sustains you, lifting your spirit and encouraging you to keep moving forward. With hope, you can face the uncertainties of life with a heart that is steady, a soul that is anchored in the truth of God's love. As you embrace this hope, God's message also invites you to be a bearer of hope to others, to share His love in tangible ways that lift those who are struggling. You are called not only to receive His blessings but to become a blessing. Imagine the impact of a life that reaches out, that extends grace to others, that brings comfort and support to those in need. God's love is not meant to be contained but to overflow, touching lives and making a difference. This is a life that reflects God's own heart, a heart that cares deeply for every person and desires for them to know His peace. In sharing this hope, you become part of God's work in the world, a witness to His love and a light that shines in the darkness. The call to share God's love also brings a responsibility to live with integrity, to be true to His word and to let His truth guide your actions. Integrity is a commitment to honesty, a refusal to compromise on values, a dedication to live in a way that honors God. Imagine the strength and respect that comes from a life lived with integrity, a life that stands firm in truth and love. This integrity is a witness to others, a testimony of God's faithfulness and the transformation His love brings. God calls you to be a person of integrity, to let your words and actions align with His truth, to be a light that reflects His character in every situation. In every season of life, God's message is clear: He is with you, and His love is enough. His presence is the constant in a world of change, the foundation upon which you can build your life. Imagine the peace of knowing that, no matter what you face, God's love surrounds you, upholds you, and guides you. This love is a promise that will never fail, a covenant that stands forever. God calls you to live in this love, to let it be the source of your strength, the inspiration for your actions, and the comfort in times of sorrow. This love is the heartbeat of your faith, the assurance that you are held in the hands of a faithful and compassionate Father. As you journey with God, His message encourages you to celebrate, to find joy in His blessings and to express gratitude for His goodness. Gratitude is a powerful practice, a way to focus on the abundance of God's love and to recognize His hand in every detail of your life. Imagine the joy that fills your heart when you choose to live with gratitude, a joy that transforms even ordinary moments into reminders of God's presence. Gratitude draws you closer to God, helping you to see life from a perspective of thankfulness and to trust in His provision. Each day becomes a gift, a chance to honor God by acknowledging His blessings and sharing His love with others. God's message is also an invitation to freedom, a freedom that comes from knowing you are fully known and fully loved. This freedom is not about escaping difficulties but about living without the weight of guilt, shame, or fear. Imagine a life where you are free to be yourself, to pursue your calling, and to live with a heart unburdened by the past. This is the freedom God offers, a freedom that empowers you to live boldly, to take risks, to dream big, and to trust that His grace is sufficient. God's love sets you free, giving you the confidence to step into the fullness of His purpose for your life. Through each moment, God's love remains the constant, unbreakable thread that weaves every season together. His love is not passive. It actively seeks you, pursues you, and draws you closer to His heart. Imagine this love as a gentle yet powerful force, one that heals wounds, restores joy, and brings clarity to your path. God's love is a lifeline, a truth that anchors you in His grace and calls you to live a life of faith, courage, and compassion. It is a love that whispers, "You are mine," and reminds you that, no matter where you are never out of reach of His embrace. As you reflect on this message, let it fill your heart with peace, joy, and a renewed sense of purpose. Let God's words become the melody that guides your life, a song of love that reminds you of His presence in every step you take. This journey with God is an invitation to live fully, to embrace His love, and to become a vessel of His grace in a world that needs it. His message to you is timeless, a reminder that His love is eternal and that His promises are true. This journey with God is an invitation to experience a life filled with His love, guided by His wisdom, and strengthened by His promises. Every step brings you closer to a deeper understanding of who He is and who He has called you to be. God's love is a constant presence, a source of joy, peace, and resilience, sustaining you through each season, each challenge, and each triumph. Imagine this love as a light that shines upon your path, illuminating the way forward with clarity and hope. God's call to you is simple yet profound: trust in His love, lean into His promises, and allow His presence to transform every part of your life. As you continue on this path, remember that God's message is not just for today but for every day of your life. His words are an enduring reminder that you are never alone, that His grace is sufficient, and that His plans for you are filled with goodness. Embrace this love, let it fill you with courage, and allow it to be the foundation upon which you build your life. God's promise is to walk with you, to guide you, and to bring you into a life rich with purpose, joy, and peace. In closing, remember this: God's love for you is endless, His grace boundless, and His presence unwavering. No matter what lies ahead, you can move forward with confidence, knowing that you are held in the arms of a loving and faithful God. May His peace be with you, may His hope fill your heart, and may His love be the light that guides you always. Embrace this journey with a heart open to His leading, and let each step be a testament to His goodness and faithfulness in your life. Thank you for watching Christ Connection. If this message has touched your heart and brought encouragement to your life, we would love for you to join our community by subscribing, liking, and sharing our channel. Stay connected so you never miss out on more inspiring content. If you would like to take action and help us continue to spread God's love and hope to more people, we invite you to consider supporting our mission. By clicking the Super Thank You button below, your generous contribution allows us to create more videos that bring light to the lives of others. Every donation, no matter how big or small, helps us share God's message of love and hope with the world. Thank you for your support, and may God bless you abundantly.